My husband told me he'd be working late. Don't wait up. I calmly said, okay. Then I found receipts from another woman, packed his clothes and delivered them to her house myself. His shocked midnight message changed everything. What happened when he returned? My husband said it like he was ordering coffee. We were both standing in the kitchen, still wearing the same tired clothes from the day before because the laundry room in our building had been temporarily closed for 3 weeks and I was washing jeans in the bathtub at midnight. He checked his watch and didn't look at me when he said, "Working late. Don't wait up." I was holding a stack of envelopes, electric bill, a red stamped notice from the clinic, the student loan people reminding me they don't care about my life. I'd been practicing how to ask him to skip happy hour so we could keep the lights on. I watched his tie swing as he grabbed his keys. And I heard myself say real calm, "Okay." The word came out clean, almost polite. He paused like he expected more. Maybe a fight, maybe a begging face. But I just set the envelopes down and started rinsing a mug. I could feel my stomach tightening, that old thing I used to think was anxiety but was really just my body saying, pay attention. After the door shut, the apartment went into that quiet that isn't peaceful. It's more like waiting for something to fall. I stood there longer than I meant to, listening to the radiator hiss and the neighbor's TV through the wall. Then I went to the hallway closet because I'd promised myself I'd find the missing W-2s and file taxes before April, even if it killed me. That's where I found the receipts. Not like a dramatic letter in a perfume box. Just a fat white envelope wedged behind the toolbox he never used. It slid out when I pulled the broom. I almost tossed it in the junk pile without opening it. It was the kind of thing he left everywhere. Receipt bundles, old parking stubs, papers from work he swore he needed. But something made me open it. Maybe it was the way my hand shook. Maybe it was the way he'd been humming in the shower lately like he'd gotten a raise we didn't know about. The first one was for a hotel near the river downtown. 2 nights. The date was last week, the same week he told me the new project was keeping him late. The second one was from a flower shop. Not grocery store roses. A boutique place with ribbons. The third was a restaurant I'd asked to go to for my birthday, the one he said was too expensive. There was a name on one of them, handwritten in pen, Elena. The smiley face next to it felt like somebody had pressed a thumb right into my chest. I sat on the floor with the envelope in my lap, leaning against the closet door, and it didn't feel like a movie moment. It felt like being underwater. I thought about all the nights I ate cereal for dinner because he said he ate at work. All the times he kissed my forehead like I was a kid and said, "We'll be okay, babe," while I was running numbers on the back of junk mail trying to see how to stretch my paycheck to rent. We didn't have money for this. Not for hotels and flowers. We had money for $23 copays and overdraft fees and gas for my 12-year-old Corolla that shook on the highway. So it wasn't just that he was with someone else. It was that he was building a whole second life on the part of our life I was carrying. I didn't cry right away. I was too busy going cold. I got up, washed my hands like I'd touched something rotten, and started walking around the apartment, picking up clues I'd refused to see. The cheap cologne he hadn't worn since our wedding. The way he started keeping his phone face down. The new gym bag I never saw him use. My brain felt like it was roaming through my body, checking every corner for damage. And in that wandering, something strange happened. I realized I wasn't scared. I was done. The first thing I did was open our banking app. The hotel charges were there, plain as day, under business expenses. He never used that card unless he wanted me to see it. Like he wanted to make sure I knew I was the fool. I went into our bedroom. I pulled a suitcase from under the bed that hadn't moved since we went to Florida before my mom got sick. I started filling it with his shirts. I folded them like I always did out of habit, and then halfway through I stopped folding. I just shoved them in. Socks. Work pants. The stupid black polo he wore to our landlord's holiday party while I smiled through the tuna casserole and pretended we weren't 2 weeks late on rent. Every time I picked something up, a memory came with it, but not in a sweet way. Like pulling a splinter and watching blood follow. The tie I bought him when he got promoted. The hoodie from the community college he never finished because he said he didn't have time. I didn't smash anything. I didn't throw a plate. I didn't need that kind of noise. The quiet had teeth. On the last receipt was an address because apparently they did delivery. A little house in a clean part of town I'd driven past 100 times on my way to work at the dental office. I knew that neighborhood by the way the lawns stayed green even in August. By the way the porches had chairs just for looking nice. I don't remember deciding to go there. I just remember carrying the suitcase down the stairs, the old elevator still broken, and my shoulders burning by the time I got to the car. It was dusk. The sky was that dirty pink that makes everything look like it's holding its breath. Her street was quiet and smelled like someone's grill. I parked crooked, pulled the suitcase out and walked up the driveway like I belonged there. My heart was steady. I'd never been steady in my life. I'd been a girl who apologized for taking up space. I'd been a wife who said it's fine when it wasn't. But my hands didn't shake when I knocked. She opened the door in leggings and a big sweater, hair still damp. She was pretty in a way that looked effortless. I hated that I noticed. She looked at me like she was trying to place me from somewhere. "Hi," I said. My voice sounded normal even to me. "You don't know me. I'm Nora. I think you've been seeing my husband." Her face did that quick collapsing thing people do when their brain catches up. "What?" I held up the envelope. "I found receipts. Flowers. Phil. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to drop this off." I nudged the suitcase toward her with my foot. He stared at it, then at me, then back at it. Her mouth opened once and closed again. He said he was separated. He said. I know what he said. I wasn't mean. I just wasn't soft. Here's his stuff. He can be separated for real now. Her eyes filled not with fake tears. With embarrassment. With something like pity. "I'm so sorry." I believed her. Which threw me a little. I'd imagined a different kind of woman, some cartoon villain. But she was just someone. Someone who also got lied to. I took a breath. I'd practiced a speech in the car on the way over, a dozen sharp lines. None of them mattered now. "Don't apologize to me," I said. "Just don't hand him back to me. I'm done holding the whole thing." She nodded like she understood. He picked up the suitcase, slow like it weighed more than clothes. I walked back to my car and sat there a minute with my forehead on the steering wheel. That's when the crying came. Not the loud kind. The kind that leaks out when pressure finally gets a crack. I let it happen, then wiped my face with the edge of my sleeve, started the engine and drove home. I got back to the apartment and wrote a note on the back of the clinic bill. "I know. I'm leaving. Don't call." Then I taped it to the fridge like a grocery list. I wasn't sure where I'd go. My sister's couch in Dayton maybe. A roommate situation. Anything that didn't include waking up next to someone who thought my life was a storage unit for his lies. At 11:58 p.m. my phone buzzed. His name flashed across the screen. I didn't answer. A text popped up. "What did you do?" Then another a minute later. "Nora, please. Where are you?" I stared at those words and felt this calm spread through me like warm water. Not because he was scared, but because I knew something he didn't. I knew I could live without him. The fear he'd used like a leash had snapped. I finally typed back. "I'm home. Your clothes are with Elena. We're done." The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "You went to her house?" "Yeah. Why would you do that?" I laughed out loud. That surprised me more than anything. Because I'm not hiding in my own life anymore. Then the message that changed everything hit like a dropped glass. "She's pregnant, Nora." There was a beat of silence in my head. Like all the sounds in the world had stepped back. I read it twice. I didn't feel jealousy first. I felt grief. Grief for the version of me that still hoped we'd fix things. Grief for the years I spent thinking love meant swallowing myself. And then I felt relief so sharp it almost hurt. "I'm sorry for the kid," I typed. "But that's not my life. Don't come back here." What am I supposed to do? Figure it out. Like I've always had to. He didn't text back for a while. I set the phone down and walked to the window. Across the street, the laundromat sign buzzed, blue and half dead. Somewhere a police siren went by. The city didn't care about my marriage falling apart. Tomorrow the bills would still come. The landlord would still want rent. My mom would still need help with her meds. But for the first time in a long time, those things felt like mine. Not whether I had to survive under somebody else. I slept on the couch. When he came in around 2, I heard the door open, the soft click of his shoes hitting the floor. I didn't move. "Nora," he whispered like he used to when he came home drunk from his buddy's place. "Please talk to me." I sat up. My eyes were puffy but my voice didn't wobble. "You don't get to say please like it makes this a conversation." He stood in the doorway of the living room, looking smaller than I'd seen him in years. His face was a mess. He started to talk, then saw the note on the fridge and stopped. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he said. That's funny, I said. Because I've been meaning for my life to go farther for years. He blinked like he didn't understand. I was drowning next to you, I said. And you were out buying flowers. He put a hand on the back of his neck. I don't have anything now. I shrugged. You do. You have the life you chose. There was no yelling. No dramatic collapse. Just the truth laid out on the rug between us. He looked at me like a stranger. I'm leaving in the morning, I said. Not because I'm wrecked, but because I'm not waiting for the next lie. He sank onto the chair by the window. For a second he looked like someone's son instead of my husband. I didn't feel responsible for that softness in him anymore. I packed a backpack for myself. Work clothes, my birth certificate, the little gold necklace my mom gave me, the picture of my niece with frosting on her face. Things that belonged to my life before him and could belong to my life after. In the morning I called my sister. I told her the truth, all of it. She didn't say, I told you so. She just said, come here. We'll figure it out. I left the key on the counter. Before I walked out, I looked around the apartment. Our thrift store couch, the peeling linoleum, the stack of bills still waiting. It wasn't some triumphant movie ending. It was an ordinary hallway and a tired woman and a future that didn't come with guarantees. But when I walked down those stairs with my backpack, I felt my spine straighten like it was remembering what it was for. I didn't know what my next apartment would look like or how I'd pay for it, or how long I'd cry on random Tuesdays. I just knew I wasn't going to live a half-life anymore. Outside the air was sharp and clean. My Corolla started on the first try. I sat there with both hands on the wheel, breathing. Then I pulled out onto the street, not fast, not dramatic. Just going forward. That was the miracle I could actually believe in.